If you've been with us so far, you know that we have lately introduced 4 rules for generating chord sequences. With these rules we can, through iteration and substitution, generate long sequences of complex chord progressions. But long progressions, especially if they are built one chord at a time, can sound haphazard. Good progressions have a sense of rhythm and structure. Think of poetry and the regular rhythmic structures that you find in something like a limerick. There's a standard number of syllables per line, arranged in an orderly way, with a well-behaved rhythm marching through them. In music, structure is often regulated not only by rhythm, a number of beats stretched across a constant number of time, but by cadences. Oh God, I just used a technical term, didn't I? Cadence. Look, just think of a cadence as like the end of a sentence or of a thought in a poem. Maybe the poem hasn't wrapped up, but one of its thoughts has. A cadence is the kind of thing that naturally appears at the end of a line of poetry when that poem is adapted into a song. It's not just the words that convey the sense that a thought has been completed. The music does too. There are several kinds of cadences in music. We'll only talk about 3 of them. First is the authentic cadence. Authentic here means something like real or genuine. If a cadence is an ending, then an authentic cadence is a real ending. It's like the period at the end of a sentence, or of a paragraph, or at the end of a book. It's the full stop. In C major, the authentic cadence is the chord sequence G-C. Note that not all progressions from G to C have the feel of a cadence. It's when they appear at the end of what feels like a phrase. Next is the half cadence. Half here means something like you're only halfway home. A half cadence is like a semicolon, a place where there's a pause, but there's the sense things haven't wrapped up. Be patient, it says. Stick around. There's more to come. Other times, a half cadence makes a phrase sound like it's asking a question. That question has to be answered eventually, which is why you're only halfway home when you reach a half cadence. Spoiler, half cadence questions typically get authentic cadence answers. In both cases, in C major, the half cadence occurs when a phrase ends with a G major chord. Last is the deceptive cadence. Deceptive here basically means lying liar who lies. A deceptive cadence is an ending that sounds like it's going to be authentic, a real ending, but then twists away at the last minute and throws everything up in the air. It's like in a slasher movie, when the not dead teenagers think they're all right because they finally found a telephone and called the police, and the cops have said they'll be right over, and everything is now totally safe and stuff, so the not dead teenagers start to make out, but then they hear a noise and look over, and oh my God, it's the maniac in the hockey mask, and he's holding the cops' severed heads in his hands. In C major, you get a deceptive cadence when the phrase feels like it's going to be authentic, but then swerves to the A minor chord instead of the C major chord. If you're going to be conscious about using cadences, it helps to have some feeling for the rhythm of the piece, how many phrases you'll use and how long they will be. It also helps to think of each phrase as being in dialogue with the other phrases. Questions are followed by answers, unless they are followed by more questions, or they get an unexpected answer. Or maybe it's just a cascade of emphatic statements. One final note. I mentioned in the last video that one should be careful about the sequence G major, A minor, C major, even though A minor is a substitute chord for C major. Again, I'm talking about music in the key of C major. It's because of the deceptive cadence that you should be careful. If the progress from G to A sounds like a deceptive cadence, then to follow it with C major, the real authentic cadence is, well, it's like a stupid, jokey ending to a slasher movie, where the kids think they're okay, but then they hear a noise and they look over and there's Michael Myers, the homicidal killer, and then he yanks the mask off and, ugh. It can work as a joke, but it's kind of lame.